So, starting here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أرأيتكم إن أتاكم عذاب الله أو أتتكم الساعة أغير الله تدعون إن كنتم صادقين. بل إياه تدعون فيكشف ما تدعون إليه إن شاء وتنسون ما تشركون. ولقد أرسلنا إلى من قبلك فأخذناهم بالبأساء والضراء لعلهم يتضرعون. فلولا إذ جاءهم بأسنا تضرعوا ولكن قست قلوبهم وزين لهم الشيطان ما كانوا يعملون. فلما نسوا ما ذكروا به فتحنا عليهم أبواب كل شيء حتى إذا فرحوا بما أوتوا أخذناهم بغتة فإذا هم مبلسون. فقطع دابر القوم الذين ظلموا والحمد لله رب العالمين. قل أرأيتم إن أخذ الله سمعكم وأبصاركم وختم على قلوبكم من إله غير الله يأتيكم به. انظر كيف نصرف الآيات ثم هم يصدفون. قل أرأيتكم إن أتاكم عذاب الله بغتة أو جهرة هل يهلك إلا القوم الظالمون. وما نرسل المرسلين إلا مبشرين ومنذرين فمن آمن وأصلح فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. والذين كذبوا بآياتنا يمسهم العذاب بما كانوا يفسقون. قل لا أقول لكم عندي خزائن الله ولا أعلم الغيب ولا أقول لكم إني ملك إن أتبع إلا ما يوحى إلي. قل هل يستوي الأعمى والبصير أفلا تتفكرون. وأنذر به الذين يخافون أن يحشروا إلى ربهم ليس لهم من دونه ولي ولا شفيع لعلهم يتقون. ولا تطرد الذين يدعون ربهم بالغداة والعشي يريدون وجهه ما عليك من حسابهم من شيء وما من حسابك عليهم من شيء فتطردهم فتكون من الظالمين. وكذلك فتنا بعضهم ببعض ليقولوا أهؤلاء من الله عليهم من بيننا أليس الله بأعلم بالشاكرين. وإذا جاءك الذين يؤمنون بآياتنا فقل سلام عليكم كتب ربكم على نفسه الرحمة أنه من عمل منكم سوءا بجهالة ثم تاب من بعده وأصلح فإنه غفور رحيم. وكذلك نفصل الآيات ولتستبين سبيل المجرمين. قل إني نهيت أن أعبد الذي تدعون من دون الله قل لا أتبع أهواءكم قد ضللت إذا وما أنا من المهتدين. قل إني على بينة من ربي وكذبتم به ما عندي ما تستعجلون به إن الحكم إلا لله يقص الحق وهو خير الفاصلين. قل لو أن عندي ما تستعجلون به لقضي الأمر بيني وبينكم والله أعلم بالظالمين. وعنده مفاتح الغيب لا يعلمها إلا هو ويعلم ما في البر والبحر وما تسقط من ورقة إلا يعلمها ولا حبة في ظلمات الأرض ولا رطب ولا يابس إلا في كتاب مبين. وهو الذي يتوفاكم بالليل ويعلم ما جرحتم بالنهار ثم يبعثكم فيه ليقضى أجل مسمى ثم إليه مرجعكم ثم ينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. وهو القاهر فوق عباده ويرسل عليكم حفظة حتى إذا جاء أحدكم الموت توفته رسلنا وهم لا يفرطون. ثم ردوا إلى الله مولاهم الحق ألا له الحكم وهو أسرع الحاسبين. So I'm gonna start talking here a little bit about some of the concepts that I've just read. And it's shown here in what I've read in multiple places, but it's shown all over the Quran and all over the Islamic religion, which is how do you see yourself in the universe. So let me explain what I mean here. Again, I think of myself back when I was a child, when I thought that I understood everything that was at mathematics back then because I was very good at math as a child. And my professors, my teachers, gave me advanced books. very advanced books, and it humbled me. It showed me where I really am, because I got to a level where I, as a 10, 11 years old kid, I challenged my teachers back then, and I was able actually to win some of those challenges against some of those teachers. But those teachers were just, low level employees doing their part. They had no interest in going, to challenge a little kid like me. But when I met someone who really understood math and really knew what they were talking about, I knew my place. But my world was very limited. I was only thinking about how I thought that of my family and my class and my neighbors, and all of that was my world back then. And I thought that I was the king of that world because I was really gifted, I was really smart, and I thought of myself a whole lot. Now, am I really the brightest math whiz to ever live? Not at all. I'm even not that good at math, which I discovered when I got to college level. Am I the smartest kid to ever live? By no means I am. But because of how small my world was back then, how I treated myself and how I considered myself. Now, right now, let's take someone who done their PhD degrees, for example, and they've published some papers and wrote a couple books, and they think of themselves really highly. I've met some of them, I've had dinners with some of them, and I know, and I don't think of myself very lightly at all. I've done many things in life, but I know those who gone far in academia, and some of them, unfortunately, gone full agnostic or gone full atheist. And the reason for that is because we don't understand. We want to understand before we actually commit and believe. And here's the thing. Throughout the Quran, at many places, it's written many examples. There are many metaphors and many examples for how we see ourselves and how we look around and see the universe. So if I start talking about what Galileo discovered, that bro that discovered how planets attract each other and your ability to have a force of attraction, gravity is related to the mass of the planet or the mass of the planet or the star in the space out there. And the more mass an object has, the more gravity it generates and more gravity it has and all of that. I talked at the very first day of Ramadan about how we measure things and how we have a compass, and it's skewed. It's it's messy compass. It's not looking at where it should look. If you don't know what your mass is, what your value is, if you assess your mass the wrong way, if you think more of yourself than what you actually are, how do you think you will go around this universe? First of all, you're gonna think of the things that doesn't come your way, that doesn't gravitate toward you, that there is a mistake with them. And you are gonna keep resisting gravitating toward anything with an actual mass that is higher than yours. So you're gonna live this life in this universe, always fighting and struggling and thinking that there are many things wrong with everything around you. All of that because you value and see yourself the wrong way. I'm not here saying to treat yourself as if you are a low grade or someone who doesn't understand. I'm not saying treat yourself as something less than what you are. But at the same time, just assess your knowledge and your awareness of the universe the right way. And by that I mean, don't just think of what you've accomplished compared to your very little bubble that you live in, even if that bubble grew to include, even if you got a Nobel Prize, for example. Because anyone who gone far in academia or science or whatever, they know that they don't know so much. The more that you know, the more that you know that you don't know. Now, let's go back to what motivates us to live in this life and start waking up every day and going and doing all of that. We've evolved more than animals. We are not just motivated by need for food and sex and shelter and all of that. No, we need to think. If you start truly thinking about your level, current level, and your knowledge right now compared to what's out there, you should go back to that stage of fear of how not in control we are, how incapable we are, how insignificant we really are. That should trigger something in us, and that thing shouldn't be stubbornness. That thing shouldn't be despair. That thing shouldn't be drinking. That thing should be thinking and more thinking and more thinking. And what's written here, what made me start to remember all of that, it's written here many times. Let me just, where is it? Yes, here. That أفلا تتفكرون. Will you not then reflect? Will you not think? تتفكر, it's thinking, reflecting, pondering. So it's written at many places in the Quran, and it's written many times to push us to think. Where I am? I'm here, right? I was here? Yeah, I was here. Yeah. So, this is just, what I think when I read those verses, how I'm always pushed to think and think more, and that drives me to act. And what we act and what do we do based on that is what we're reading now and what we're gonna be reading more. So let's continue. I wanna start, I wanna finish that was just that I need to read today. So I'm gonna try to cap myself, every time I find myself going, on a rant or talking more, I'm gonna try to stop myself, hopefully. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وعنده. I'm gonna restart the stream. Okay, it's back now. Okay, it's back. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو القادر على أن يبعث عليكم عذابا من فوقكم أو من تحت أرجلكم أو يلبسكم شيعا ويذيق بعضكم بأس بعض انظر كيف نصرف الآيات لعلهم يفقهون وكذب به قومك وهو الحق قل لست عليكم بوكيل لكل نبأ مستقر وسوف تعلمون وإذا رأيت الذين يخوضون في آياتنا فأعرض عنهم حتى يخوضوا في حديث غيره وإما ينسينك الشيطان فلا تقعد بعد الذكرى مع القوم الظالمين وما على الذين يتقون من حسابهم من شيء ولكن ذكرى لعلهم يتقون وذر الذين اتخذوا دينهم لعبا ولهوا وغرتهم الحياة الدنيا وذكر به أن تبسل نفس بما كسبت ليس لها من دون الله ولي ولا شفيع وإن تعدل كل عدل لا يؤخذ منها أولئك الذين أبسلوا بما كسبوا لهم شراب من حميم وعذاب أليم بما كانوا يكفرون قل أندعو من دون الله ما لا ينفعنا ولا يضرنا ونرد على أعقابنا بعد إذ هدانا الله كالذي استهوته الشياطين في الأرض حيران له أصحاب يدعونه إلى الهدى ائتنا قل إن هدى الله هو الهدى وأمرنا لنسلم لرب العالمين وأن أقيموا الصلاة واتقوه وهو الذي إليه تحشرون وهو الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بالحق ويوم يقول كن فيكون قوله الحق وله الملك يوم ينفخ في الصور عالم الغيب والشهادة وهو الحكيم الخبير وإذ قال إبراهيم لأبيه آزر أتتخذ أصناما آلهة إني أراك وقومك في ضلال مبين وكذلك نري إبراهيم ملكوت السماوات والأرض وليكون من الموقنين فلما جن عليه الليل رأى كوكبا قال هذا ربي فلما أفل قال لا أحب الآفلين فلما رأى القمر بازغا قال هذا ربي فلما أفل قال لئن لم يهدني ربي لأكونن من القوم الضالين فلما رأى الشمس بازغة قال هذا ربي هذا أكبر فلما أفلت قال يا قوم إني بريء مما تشركون إني وجهت وجهي الذي فطر السماوات والأرض حنيفا وما أنا من المشركين الله العلي العظيم. Those verses here, starting from verse 74, going to verse 79, those 5 verses, those are my whole philosophy in life. Those are the basic building blocks for all of my thinking and my philosophy in life. If you really want to know what I am, at my very core, my very, very core, those are the 5 verses that tell what I am at the very core. And let me talk a little bit about them. So, Ibrahim, he is one of the 5 famous prophets, famous messengers, the 5 that are in Arabic, we call them Ulil Azm. Excuse me. And he is considered to be the father of all prophets. He's a very important and very special person, and he's nicknamed Khalilur Rahman, and Khalilur Rahman means the closest it's not friend, it's someone very close to God. So let's talk a little bit about his bringing up, his childhood. He was a very special person, very special kid, and his father was a statue maker. The statues that were worshipped back then. His father used to be the one who made those statues. So imagine now, all of our lives revolve around those phones here, right? This is my phone. So all of our lives revolve around an object. We treat that object with the most respect ever. We have to carry it with us whenever we go, wherever we go. Everyone has one. And right now, the closest thing to such an object is our phones. Imagine the maker of those phones, the ones that made those objects. So Tim Cook or Apple, CEO, for example, or founder, Steve Jobs or someone like that. I'm not saying that we worship phones right now, but it's the closest thing to that, because worshipping means not just putting the statue on a pedestal and just saying hi every morning and then going your way. No. If you were a believer back then, which most of them were because they killed for that, they treated those objects, those statues, with all the respect and all the gratitude, and all their world revolved around those statues. And Ibrahim's father was the one who made those statues. Now, imagine his kid, his child. Imagine, you already have your all future figured out, bro. What else do you need? Imagine if you were the son of Tim Cook right now. Well, you can imagine that because it's never gonna happen because, he swings the other way. But imagine. One way or another, you're gonna have that whole empire for yourself. So, you're not worried about food, shelter. future. Your mind is free. But you find yourself not satisfied with eating all the food that can be eaten, having all the women that could be having. He's still a child here, so he is not even, at that point yet. But your mind is free. You're not worried. So you start thinking, what else is out there? I'm not a slave for my body now, because I'm not afraid or worried about my food, my water, my shelter, my marriage. I'm not a slave anymore. So, okay, let's build, let's achieve. What else more important can you build more than the object that everyone else worships? So, you're already doing the thing that everyone else around you in your society thinks is the most important thing ever. Right? So, no one is gonna come to you and tell you, bro, you gotta figure something to do with your life, you gotta be useful. No. You are already, for them, the most useful human being to ever live. You make their gods. And he still thought that something isn't right. Something is missing. Because those gods that they worship, those statues, they don't hold any power. That all the problems around us aren't solved by those statues. And so he started thinking. So he used to go to the desert and look at the sky and think, which is what we as Muslims are told to do. And he looked at the sky and thought, there must be something more powerful out there, more than those statues. And then he saw, here is the verses, what verses said. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وكذلك نري إبراهيم ملكوت السماوات والأرض وليكون من الموقنين. So I'm gonna read the literal translation first. We also showed Abraham the wonders of the heavens and the earth, so he would be sure in faith. So, samawat and ard, heaven and earth, the whole universe. Ibrahim used to watch and think. By the way, what he saw back then is what we see every day. What he looked at back then is what we look at every day. But what he saw is different. We always look. We don't always see. So, when the night grew dark upon him, he saw a star and said, yes, this is my Lord. But when it set, he said, I do not love things that set. So, the very, very first time I've read those verses, I was 10 years old. And I always thought of them back then that, who is that? Astaghfirullah, God forbid. Because what I thought back then, who is that silly boy, silly child that thought the star was his God? But here is the thing. Quran is written for Islam and Quran and religion. It respects human, it respects our mind. So imagine just to understand how the Quran speaks to us. Imagine if you go to someone on the street and tell them, bro, tell them assemble command or assemble a piece of information, for example. Let's tell them that you've seen a fire somewhere and that they are walking toward that fire. If they take that turn, that next turn, they're gonna see a fire or an accident and they need to, take care. You're not even gonna tell them to go the other way. You just need to tell them take care. Imagine how you will talk to that human in front of you. So, there are multiple versions of that. Imagine that version here that I'm gonna enact right now. You see that human about to go to the turn, so stop him. Come on. Just understand, please, that if you take that next turn, there is gonna be a fire. And it's really, really hot. If you touch that fire, you're gonna and you're gonna get burned. So you need not to walk in the fire. Alright, understand? The fire burns you. If you get burned, you're gonna get injured and you're gonna die. You need to not talk. And imagine that you are giving them all the details as if you are talking to a little child. What do you think they're gonna be acting like? they're gonna look you up and down and think that something is wrong with you because you're not respecting their mind. Now, imagine the next scenario or the next version if they are actually seem like a grown-up bro, grown-up man who really knows his shit, and he's walking and you see him. So all you're gonna do, bro, fire, accident, done, enough. Even more, you didn't just warn him, you know that he's gonna take some action, some way. That's all you need to do. Keep imagining those scenarios and tell me which one would you like to be treated as. Because when the Quran speaks to us, it doesn't consider us little children that need to be told every minute little thing. The Quran respects our mind. The Quran, the very first word in the Quran is read, اقرأ. And throughout the Quran, multiple times, it's written think. So, most of the Quran is not most, a huge part of the Quran is metaphors. And those metaphors are an invitation for us to think and rethink. So, Ibrahim was a very bright boy. Very, very bright. I can't say he was one of the most amazing 5 humans to ever live. Now, his story is pure intelligence for me when I think about it. You need to consider it that way also when the Quran describes it. It wasn't in just one night that he just gone to the desert, looked at the sky and thought, yeah, this star is my God now, thanks God, done, and walked. No. That's many nights of pondering and thinking and reflecting. And throughout that journey, he got to the idea that there must be something more powerful than those statues. So, what is it? And he looks at the sky. And for sure, whoever is up there in that vast sky has to have some sort of power. But here's the thing. Is he in control or is he being controlled? And for that, you need to think about what the word control hold. If you are in a routine and you are being forced in that routine daily, day and night, daily, every month, every year, who do you think is in control? The one that's in the routine or the one that made the routine? Now, that's what he thought. He used to watch the sky and he saw the star and saw the star's patterns, and he understood that they follow a certain routine. So for sure, the one that follows isn't the creator. So that made him think, alright. Then when he saw the moon rising, he said, this one is my Lord. But when it appeared, he said, if my Lord doesn't guide me, I will certainly be one of the misguided people. He moved from the stars to the moon because the moon is brighter. So might be, and by brighter, it doesn't mean here, light, bright. It means everything else around us in this world. The one who has, the most handsome person in the society doesn't control the society. The fame doesn't grant them power. We grant them this power by making them famous. The light that the moon has doesn't come from the moon. It comes from the sun. And the next verse, then when he saw the sun shining, he said, this must be my Lord, it's the greatest. But again, when it set, he declared, oh my people, I totally reject whatever you associate with Allah in worship. Which means, after the moon, he saw the sun. Okay, the source of moon's power is the sun. He got that. That's how smart he was. It's not just, it's because it's bigger. It's just figuring out that the moonlight comes from the sun is something that after Galileo and all of that we've learned in astrology, so long after. But he understood the concept of who is in control. And after he saw that the sun, the moon, and the stars, and the wheel, and everything around him was following a routine, pattern. Pattern recognition is the building block of all intelligence. He just realized it. Oh wow. There is someone in control of all of that. There is a God, there is Allah. And then and there, I have turned my face toward the one who has originated the heavens and the earth, being upright, and I am not one of the polytheists. Polytheists. Which means, only one in control. This building block here, that there is only one who is in control, can be realized by humans at any point in their lifetime without any guidance. Any human who actually think, and they're smart enough, if they think about it enough, they are gonna reach that conclusion by themselves. And it happened multiple times through history. What you do after that is a whole different story. Because after that, you can think that only I got that knowledge, so I'm gonna create my own religion. Done, it's a cult, and you're gonna have a whole lot of things to say that most of them that are wrong, but the fact that there is only one God, one Allah, is right. And many religions, not many religions, many ideologies and many thought patterns emerged throughout the world, throughout the histories, touting that, we also worship just one God. Yeah, bro, but how you do it and what you do with it is not right. Because as humans, we were created to think, and anyone who thinks understands that there only can be one God, one Allah. But what after? After that, you need to be still, to keep humble. Not think that you got the thing that no one else got. No, you need to stay humble and start learning more. Because what comes after that doesn't come from our thinking alone. We need the external guidance. So, now imagine what will happen after that. You are the son of the one who creates the most important objects for society that you live in. And here are what happened next. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وحاجه قومه قال أتحاجوني في الله وقد هدان ولا أخاف ما تشركون به إلا أن يشاء ولا أخاف أن تشركون به إلا أن يشاء ربي شيئا وسع ربي كل شيء علما أفلا تتذكرون وكيف أخاف ما أشركتم ولا تخافون أنكم أشركتم بالله ما لم ينزل به عليكم سلطانا فأي الفريقين أحق بالأمن إن كنتم تعلمون الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم أولئك لهم الأمن وهم مهتدون وتلك حجتنا آتيناها إبراهيم على قومه نرفع درجات من نشاء إن ربك حكيم عليم صدق الله العلي العظيم 1, 2, 3, 4 Those tell the story, the whole story of what happened next to him. حاجه أتحاجونني حجتنا. That word in Arabic, all it's forms of argue, and argument and arguing. So what happened is, of course, because of the power that his father holds, they all came and talked to him. Now imagine those conversations. Because of his stature, his power, his father's power, those who came and tried to argue with him, against him, weren't just normal people. They were the best of the best, la creme de la creme. And his argument was as simple as, who's in control? That was all of his argument. Who's in control? And at a certain point, and this is what happened with Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that those opposed to him actually admitted then that we understand that we are not in control and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control, but Even that after they admitted that, they kept not accepting Islam and not accepting religion. Why? Because it was in direct conflict with their benefits. Whoever is in false control can't be in right control. I have to explain that. Throughout history, humans existed in groups and tribes and societies. And because humans needs to exist like that, through natural progression, every society got their kings and queens and leaders and stuff like that. And with power comes corruption. Power without guidance always brings corruption. Now, corruption dictates that you want to keep that power, because corruption is like when we say that a piece of fruit has been corrupted, guys, what does that mean? It means that the corruption eats that piece of fruit, and the corruption is hungry. It always wants to eat. That's why any corrupt person never gets full. No money is enough for a corrupt person. No food is enough for a corrupt person. No amount of power is enough. No amount of sex is enough. A corrupt person has a pit inside of them that never gets full. And what is the only thing that can guarantee that you keep getting more food than you deserve, more money than you deserve, more power than you deserve? It's power. So you always wanna get to power, and this is throughout history why corruption needs to get to power, and it's a struggle to get power. It will never stop. It will never stop. We have to understand and accept that as humans. This is why Islam and religion cannot exist in a powerless state. You cannot be a powerless human, a powerless Muslim. If you are Muslim, you need to understand power and understand how to seek it and how to reach for it. This is the eternal struggle here throughout this life. This is a choice. This is a thing that God created us for. Now, that's why most of those, even after they learn the truth, it becomes a fight among themselves, between their understanding and their struggle and their ego and their stubbornness. We want to keep what we have. And it's not a very easy battle to win. And many throughout society and history, and even us, many battles we fight daily among ourselves, and we lose. We lose to the corruption. And here's the thing, it's alright. It's okay. That's why you were created as a human. If you were created to always win those kinds of battles, you would have been an angel. You wouldn't have been a human. It's not about losing. It's about what you do after this loss. You get up again, and you try again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And he kept telling them that. And telling them, who do you actually fear? And we talked about fear. He explained the concepts of fear to them. He kept arguing. And by arguing and arguing and arguing and arguing, he himself kept learning more and more and more and more. And here's what God says, that this was the argument we gave Abraham against his people. We elevate in rank whoever we please. Surely your Lord is all wise, all knowing. It's your choice. Do you want to be elevated? Do you want to learn? Do you want to understand? Alright? Then trust. Understand. Try. And because we've explained that already, wisdom, God created wisdom. It's not that God is wise. God created wisdom. Allah created wisdom. Allah created knowing. So you need to understand that you are not doing what you're doing in a vacuum. Everything is seen, everything is measured, and if you try, you will be rewarded, and that reward might come in many forms. You just gotta be ready for it, and that's what life is. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ووهبنا له إسحاق ويعقوب كلا هدينا ونوحا هدينا من قبل ومن ذريته داود وسليمان وأيوب ويوسف وموسى وهارون وكذلك نجزي المحسنين وزكريا ويحيى وعيسى وإلياس كل من الصالحين وإسماعيل واليسع ويونس ولوطا وكلا فضلنا على العالمين ومن آبائهم وذرياتهم وإخوانهم واجتبيناهم وهديناهم إلى صراط مستقيم ذلك هدى الله يهدي به من يشاء من عباده ولو أشركوا لحبط عنهم ما كانوا يعملون أولئك الذين آتيناهم الكتاب والحكم والنبوة فإن يكفر بها هؤلاء فقد وكلنا بها قوما ليسوا بها بكافرين أولئك الذين هدى الله فبهداهم اقتده قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إن هو إلا ذكرى للعالمين وما قدر الله حق قدره إذ قالوا ما أنزل الله على بشر من شيء قل من أنزل الكتاب الذي جاء به موسى نورا وهدى للناس تجعلونه قراطيس تبدونها وتخفون كثيرا وعلمتم ما لم تعلموا أنتم ولا آباؤكم قل الله ثم ذرهم في خوضهم يلعبون وهذا كتاب أنزلناه مبارك مصدق الذي بين يديه ولتنذر القرى ومن حولها والذين يؤمنون بالآخرة يؤمنون به وهم على صلاتهم يحافظون ومن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا أو قال أوحي إلي ولم يوحى إليه شيء ومن قال سأنزل مثل ما أنزل الله ولو ترى إذ الظالمون في غمرات الموت والملائكة باسطوا أيديهم أخرجوا أنفسكم اليوم تجزون عذاب الهون بما كنتم تقولون على الله غير الحق وكنتم عن آياته تستكبرون ولقد جئتمونا فرادا كما خلقناكم أول مرة وتركتم ما خولناكم وراء ظهوركم وما نرى معكم شفعاءكم الذين زعمتم أنهم فيكم شركاء لقد قطع بينكم وضل عنكم ما كنتم تزعمون إن الله فالق الحب والنوى يخرج الحي من الميت ويخرج الميت من الحي ذلكم الله فأنا تؤفكون فالق الإصباح وجعل الليل سكنا والشمس والقمر حسبانا ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم وهو الذي جعل لكم النجوم لتهتدوا بها في ظلمات البر والبحر قد فصلنا الآيات لقوم يعلمون وهو الذي أنشأكم من نفس واحدة فمستقر ومستودع قد فصلنا الآيات لقوم يفقهون وهو الذي أنزل من السماء ماء فأخرجنا به نبات كل شيء فأخرجنا منه خضرا نخرج منه حبا متراكبا ومن النخل من طلعها قنوان دانية وجنات من أعناب والزيتون والرمان مشتبها وغير متشابه انظروا إلى ثمره إذا أثمر وينعه إن في ذلكم لآيات لقوم يؤمنون وجعلوا لله شركاء الجن وخلقهم وخرقوا له بنين وبنات بغير علم سبحانه وتعالى عما يصفون بديع السماوات والأرض أنى يكون له ولد ولم تكن له صاحبة وخلق كل شيء وهو بكل شيء عليم ذلكم الله ربكم لا إله إلا هو خالق كل شيء فاعبدوه وهو على كل شيء وكيل لا تدركه الأبصار وهو يدرك الأبصار وهو اللطيف الخبير قد جاءكم بصائر من ربكم فمن أبصر فلنفسه ومن عمي فعليها وما أنا عليكم بحفيظ وكذلك نصرف الآيات وليقولوا درست ولنبينه لقوم يعلمون اتبع ما أوحي إليك من ربك لا إله إلا هو وأعرض عن المشركين ولو شاء الله ما أشركوا وما جعلناك عليهم حفيظا وما أنت عليهم بوكيل ولا تسبوا الذين يدعون من دون الله فيسبوا الله عدوا بغير علم كذلك زينا لكل أمة عملهم ثم إلى ربهم مرجعهم فينبئهم بما كانوا يعملون وأقسموا بالله جهد أيمانهم لئن جاءتهم آية ليؤمنن بها قل إنما الآيات عند الله وما يشعركم أنها إذا جاءت لا يؤمنون ونقلب أفئدتهم وأبصارهم كما لم يؤمنوا به أول مرة ونذرهم في طغيانهم يعمهون ولو أننا نزلنا إليهم الملائكة وكلمهم الموتى وحشرنا عليهم كل شيء قبلا ما كانوا ليؤمنوا إلا أن يشاء الله ولكن أكثرهم يجهلون صدق الله العلي العظيم. So by this, guys, we end the 7th chapter of the Quran, and I'm gonna start the 8th today, inshallah, but for now I'm gonna take a break, because while reading while fasting it's not as easy while not fasting. So yeah, I'm gonna take a break from Quran right now, and I'm actually gonna play something. Let's see, what do I feel like? Yeah, I wanna play TFT. I'm gonna play a little bit of TFT, yes. And I'm gonna keep actually the category of the stream in Valorant, because after that I'm gonna start Valorant, so